Well, lately I've been working on my Mario impression, and this is as far as I've gotten. Me Mario! With that out of the way, before making this video, I realized I have never made a review of the 8 movies. Well, here it is. I like them. With that out of the way, let's talk about the new show that just launched, It Welcome to the Derry. Well, is it any good? In the short version, yeah, I liked it. Only 2 episodes have been released till now, and they are made by the same guy who directed the first 2 movies. I really enjoyed the first movie, but the second movie, I didn't like it that much because I thought that they will go deep into the story of what the monster is and how it came to be. Well, they did some of that, but they didn't go into details. Well, that's where the show comes in. As this is a show, they can get into the nitty gritty of the story. A show can run multiple seasons and they can go really deep into the story. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. And the story is set into the 1962, where this monster once again is trying to terrify the town. And the show starts with the disappearing of a kid, which is nothing new to the town because the police station is full of missing children's posters, and all none of those kids' body has been found or any reasonable explanation to why they disappeared. And the Derry town is very weird in itself, and we get to see with through the main protagonist's eye, who is an U.S. Air Force military pilot who has fought in war like Korean War recently, and he is stationed in an Air Force base in Derry. Well, the main purpose of the Air Force base for the public is to prepare against the rising threats of nuclear war day by day against Russia. And he is stationed there because he's pretty good pilot. I feel like the main protagonist for the story is that pilot. Meanwhile, there are a bunch of kids in middle school who are being terrified. The story follows closely to their encounters and how this group of friends are dealing with the monster, how he is trying to terrify them. The acting is pretty good. It's not Oscar winning, but it's there's never a dull moment with their acting. Everybody does their job well. They do what they're supposed to. The acting is pretty decent. It's not bad, it's not the best, but it gets the job done. An example of how the town is very weird is one instance where the wife of the pilot goes to town and sees what's there and what's not, and she comes across a bunch of kids running after a geeky looking kid who stumbles upon in the middle of the day in the middle of the street. And the other kids come up to him and they start kicking him and punching him pretty brutally, and nobody seems to care. As she goes to intervene and stop those kids, she's met with weird glare from the people passing by as she did something wrong. The direction of this show is pretty good. It it seamlessly switches between the kids who are being terrorized by the monster and closely follows the story which I'm more interested in about the pilot and why is he here. The residents of this town have old thinking as they are still new to having colored people in their town, and we get to see those instances when this pilot moves in with his family. Even walking on the street, the wife is met with the stares and weird glares of people passing by not being acknowledged. Well, to keep it pre spoiler free, that's all much I can say about it. That it's a good show. If you liked the lore of it, I would highly recommend you go watch this show. You're not gonna regret it. And now to get into the nitty gritty of it, that means getting into the spoilers. If you don't want any spoilers, this is your warning. You have been warned. If you don't want spoilers, you can click away right now. You can go watch the show if you like the premise, and you can come back and see if our thoughts match. And now for the rest of you peeps. The show is good. The story is really interesting this time around. The story keeps the essence of the It movies, that being the monster terrorizing bunch of kids. And while keeping that essence, it is also focusing on the story of what that monster is, where did it came from, how it came to be the way it is. And this part of the story is closely followed with the pilot, as he's pretty fearless pilot, and that is the main reason he's transferred to this base. On paper, he's told that he's here because if the need comes, He needs to pilot a plane with a nuclear warhead on it and take it to Russia where there's no coming back from. And he's up for the job and he's ready for the job. But they do a test on him, a test of bravery. Not a scientific test, but they send some military men, US military men, portraying as Russians with mask on in the middle of the night to sort of interrogate him, and they point guns at him. They fight with him. They hit him with rods. They ask him for the specifications of the plane that he will be flying and what is the range and everything, and he doesn't give the information up. Well, that's a pretty basic test, but the real test came when the real test comes when one of the subordinate signs a written confession that he and his friends did it, and that subordinate don't like colored people, and he was very rude and very disrespectful to this pilot when he first came on the base. So it makes sense that he will turn an eye and let it be. But this person is true to his heart. He realized that the gun they were using was a Russian gun, and he knows that one person need to be a near perfect in handling that firearm to be able to reload it and cock it that quick. And he knows that subordinate who signed the confession doesn't know much about that gun. So what he does, he owns that gun. The pilot owns that gun, and he goes visit that subordinate in a military prison. He takes the gun with him, he unloads it, and he puts it in front of him, and then he provokes him. And he successfully provokes him, and that subordinate picks up that gun, tries to load it, and tries to cock it, which he cannot. That's when he realized that that was not the person who came and threatened him. And that's when he realized that they have a wrong person in custody, and he fights it. He says that he's not the person that did it. That's when the head of that operation realizes that this is the person that they've been looking for. And why, you might ask? Because the main purpose of that airbase in Derry is to unearth something that they think was buried down there years ago, ages ago, something that can be weaponized. But the catch to it is when they take him, after telling him that he passed the test, they take him to the site. That's where they explain the whole purpose of that restricted area in that airbase, that they're trying to unearth this thing and trying to weaponize it. And the only thing that they know about that thing is that it invokes fear. It invokes fear so bad in the bravest of people that the bravest of the soldiers would kill themselves on spot. Fear so bad that nobody can confront it. And that's where this protagonist comes in, this pilot comes in, because death is something he does not fear. He has came back from death a couple of times, and he is true to his word, true to his heart. He doesn't give in to his anger. So that's why they need him to confront this thing that they're trying to unearth so they can weaponize it, because he doesn't fear. A person who doesn't fear, the thing cannot invoke the fear in him. And the second episode ends with a scene where they found something at a dig site, and it's a car full of bodies with weapons inside it. If they're military or not, we don't know it yet. And that's where they explain that this thing is buried underneath somewhere nobody knows, or at least it's kept secret from the military. And there's only one person there who sort of can sense it, and with his abilities they're trying to find this thing. And I really like this side of the story. I really like the premise of this story. I mean, I'm not saying the other parts of the story are bad. They're just as good as this side of the story, and they do a really good job of scaring you. There are not a lot of jump scares, but they're not trying to do it like Paranormal Activity. It's not that slow. And I think the story will also try to explain why this thing decided to be Pennywise or take over Pennywise or whatever. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about the show that I saw, and I feel like a lot of people would really like it. The show is not getting as much as attention as it deserves. Everybody thinks that if the second movie was not good, the show is not gonna be good. Well, apparently, the show is good. Go watch it. It is coming out weekly every Friday. And if you will take out 1 hour out of your Friday evening, you will not regret it. But the only downside to this is that you will be looking for more. After that 1 hour, you would want more. But you will have to wait until next Friday. And that's what I'm doing. I'm waiting till next Friday when I can see more of it. Yeah, that's about it.